Dorothy Tracy would get angry if you called her great, but she has certainly led a life that is a great American success story. After growing up on a farm, she spent 57 years married to the love of her life, Robert Tracy. Together they raised 12 successful children and built a business that defined an industry. And she did it all with a faithful, optimistic, and can-do attitude that worked both for seeing a struggling business through lean early years and raising her 12 children.
Well, I always said I raised them with prayers and patience. Prayers first and patience next.
My mom was very concise. She very simply put, she said, we wanted you all to become good citizens.
Well, my priority in life has been to raise my children to be decent, law-abiding citizens who will contribute to the betterment of our society. And I hope I've done that job.
What a beautiful thing that is. To be a good citizen means that you're contributing to your community, you're contributing to your church, you have morals and you have values, you volunteer and you make the world a better place. And that was their hope for us.
That goal may have sounded simple, but the task was complicated by scale.
I mean, 12 kids is so many kids.
They screwed up 11 times and they finally got it right with the 12th one.
I mean, it was always chaos. I mean, not chaotic in our house, but noisy. And Mom kept it under control.
Can you just imagine the number of diapers that she changed, the number of meals that she prepared, the number of meetings that she had to go to?
Mom is the calmest person in chaos that anyone could ever see.
Mom would be sitting down at the end of the day, reading the newspaper, flossing her teeth, watching TV, and letting her children brush her hair back because she was going to the beauty shop the next day and she didn't care what she looked like. And so by sitting there watching TV, she was able to read the newspaper, take care of her teeth, and allow her children to be entertained. And that was my mom.
Mom was a hell of a good cook, I'll tell you that much.
All of our cookies were homemade.
Her applesauce is world class.
I still eat her applesauce, but my kids like her applesauce, so anytime she makes it and she offers it to my family, we snap it up.
You know, her chicken and rice is something that everybody asks for.
And whether it was with a special meal or her own time, Dorothy knew how to make each child feel special.
Mom has a unique ability to have a special relationship with all the kids, which, you know, I used to kid her about who do you love most.
I think I'm a particularly good person to answer this question because I've always been her favorite, but she really, seriously has, and to this day, still makes us all feel very special.
Whether it's making a hot breakfast in the morning before you went to school, or whether it's going through a tough time and you just need somebody to talk to.
One day I think I might have been 4th grade, so probably 10, and I was having a particularly bad day. I didn't want anybody to know this, you know, the boys might tease me or, you know, and I thought Mom will be too busy, you know. And she grabbed me right away and said, "What's going on? What's wrong with you?" And of course then the waterworks and I started crying. And she sat down and she held me and talked to me and gave me, I felt like I had all the time I needed from her.
She spent hours with me on my homework.
If you had a problem, you know, she was there to talk to you about it.
Every child, you know, growing up has issues, and you always knew that, you know, if you had a problem, you go see Mom.
Dorothy was always there for the children, and when she needed to relax, music was always there for Dorothy.
Mom is really into music. I mean, she played the piano, and that was definitely something that she enjoyed and relaxed her, and it was definitely something the family enjoyed too, because it was also very soothing for all of us.
Late in the afternoon when they would really get rowdy, well, I'd take them in and I'd sit them around the piano and I played for them.
And she would play our special song, the Alley Cat.
Tried to get them to sing, but none of them ever had any good voices, you know. That was really something to listen to that.
You're talking to a bunch of tone deaf. That's one thing she didn't pass to her children, is none of us can sing and none of us can play a musical instrument. It was really a waste of time and money when we take our baseball gloves and our bat with us to piano practice.
There were the incessant and constant ball games going on, indoors and outdoors. The indoors were particularly a challenge for Mom.
We used to play ball in the house and, you know, bust a few things.
They weren't supposed to use my dining room for the basketball court, but sometimes that happened. And I had a light fixture broken once, and I think the china cupboard was knocked over and
And we were all like, it was the hush. The house was never so quiet. Like, we just couldn't believe it happened. And we felt so bad for her, and she said, well, it's my own fault. I shouldn't have tried to have anything nice.
With so much chaos for so many years, you can't blame Dorothy for being a bit relieved when it came to an end.
when the children got older and left home, people would ask me, don't you really miss the kids? What do you do? Do you know what to do now that they're all gone? I said, I love it. I really enjoyed my freedom after that. I'm not ashamed to say so either.
But freedom had its limits.
When any of us had a child, she was there, spent a week at my house, cooked and cleaned and took care of us and told us how to change a diaper and, you know, wipe a face and all that other stuff that we had no clue.
She would clean your refrigerator, she would cook, and she would mend you back to health for that week. And for that week, I truly felt like an only child, that my mother came and took care of me while I took care of my newborn.
It was just so comforting to know that she was going to be there.
We love Grandma!
Dorothy's had a very, very close relationship with all the grandchildren, which is quite an accomplishment when you think of the 40-plus number.
Remembers all of their birthdays, sends them all presents, calls them, sends them cards on time, ahead of time.
And it's so special. That's something the grandkids will always remember, that Grandma always remembered those special days for them.
That's the way she is with all the special occasions, but also when you come home to visit. She has that meal ready for you, and she knows the favorite meal of the families, and everything is in order when you get there, and my children just love coming to visit Grandma.
And Grandma loves to have the whole family together.
Probably that's when you see Mom the happiest.
Every year we went to the Ozarks 1 week every summer, and the kids had a wonderful time.
She really enjoys that, or if it's at Christmas, you know, handing out presents and seeing the kids.
Most holidays you'll find 41 grandkids running around with Dorothy there leading the charge.
Well, it gets pretty noisy when they're all together now. Sometimes I'd like to creep off into a quiet room. But it's good to have them all in it. And it's so much fun to see them all have a good time together and enjoy each other and want to be together.
And thanks to the success of Dot, the family is together a lot.
That's probably one of the most satisfying things to her, the fact that their 12 kids are still working together. They're still playing together.
Well, it's great to have our children involved in the business. We've been so pleased that they've wanted to come back and join us.
But that wouldn't have been possible without a bold decision to start the business back in 1960.
How in the world does somebody convince Mom with, 7 or 8 kids to start a business out of her living room and no money?
It was such a big risk for them to take, and Mom wanted Dad to follow his dream.
It took a lot of faith, a lot of devotion, a lot of trust in Dad, and a lot of courage by Mom.
People always like to give Dad the credit for that. Mom was by far even more courageous for allowing someone to have the confidence to allow someone to take on that kind of risk and give her the burden of really managing all these kids, and not just a big family, but a family that was still growing.
It was just a natural process that this was something they as a team were going to pursue.
We were young and we were ambitious, and we thought anything was possible.
For the older children, though, this new business meant a change of schedule.
I definitely would consider my entry into the business as an involuntary draft. When that first chocolate truck rolled into Mount Sterling in 1960 and I was 10 years old, and Dad told me to start unloading it with Pat. I was not too keen about that. I foreseen the end of my days of playing baseball, endless days of summer, and because I figured there were going to be more trucks than just that one, and boy was I right.
Those trucks also meant even more work for Dorothy.
I would bundle Don or Pat or some of the older children up in warm clothing and their boots and everything, and they would trudge uptown in the deep snow because we had to have that mail every day to see if there were any orders in the mail or if we got any checks. And then if they were checks, they had to go back again to the bank and and deposit them.
When Mom needed to work with Dad in regards to the business, she was right there for him. At night, when normally she could sit down and finally relax after the children were in bed, she would go into the den, from what I understand, and do the books for him.
She also was his secretary and organized the paperwork and, made phone calls.
That tradition of hard work became a part of Dot's culture, a culture still defined by Robert and Dorothy's values.
Mom and Dad always had high morals and values within, as part of the culture for Dot.
RT and Dorothy always were driven, always worked harder than any people I know. But the thing that always amazed me too is how they always took time to have fun. They always thought that having fun and personal relationships in the business were as important as having customers and suppliers.
The legacy of Mom and Dad for this company, I think, is all about the employees. Their care and concern that they had and have for the employees.
One of the values that Mom and Dad embedded in the beginning is value in every individual's contribution. I believe that's still one of the strengths of our culture.
They've also provided us the desire to have an education which didn't stop at school. We're always trying to learn about a better way to run a business, a better way to take care of employees, a better way to take care of customers.
To be a large company like that and to be able to have those same values in place says a lot about my parents.
And certainly with Dorothy, she's still driving a lot of that culture and a lot of that behavior by all of us, so it's very important to us.
Mom and Dad taught us that life is not just about yourself and what you want, but it's about sharing that.
She felt community involvement was very important.
Because they love this community and they wanted to make sure that the schools were successful and that the businesses were successful and that families wanted to stay in this community.
Whether it's her family, her church, her, the Mount Sterling area, Mom was committed.
And even found time to be on the school board.
That's how she used her free time, was volunteering.
That's a spirit that is carried on at Dot through the Tracy Family Foundation, a charity that has become a fitting tribute to Robert and Dorothy's tradition of giving.
The foundation's intent was children, education, and strengthening the family unit. That says everything about Mom and Dad.
It takes a remarkable person to raise such a large family, build a business, and shape a community. And though Dorothy is too humble to desire the spotlight, those who know her best understand her brilliance.
Mom, for years and years, has never felt that she's any big deal. She thinks she's just done what anyone would have done in the same circumstances and so forth. And I think we all know that not to be true, but that what she has done is extraordinary.
I don't even know how to describe her. She's almost bigger than life, honestly.
When people would meet her, that's usually the first comment. They don't say, hey man, your brother John, he is, the coolest and sharpest, or that Pat sure is long-winded, isn't he? It was, I met your mom, and she is the most wonderful person I have ever met.
She's always excelled at everything she does, very smart, very educated, very caring to everybody. I think all that combination has served her well and served her family well and certainly served RT in the business well over the years.
Mom is a great role model.
She was unselfish, always busy, caring and kind.
She gives a lot to the community and to her children, and she doesn't ask a lot.
It's just remarkable. There is not a person alive that I know that doesn't have huge respect for Dorothy and everything she's done for the company, for the community, and for the whole region.
And as RT and Dorothy's loving partnership neared an end, Dorothy faced it with her usual courage.
That was just such a shining example of courage. Mom was, taking care of Dad day in and day out, and she wanted to.
And just watching Mom walk with Dad on his journey the last few years of his life was a textbook in how to love someone. It was just an amazing example of selflessness and love.
Mom is a rock.
She was always consistent. She was always reliable. She was always there.
She was constantly providing us the right steps to follow.
She had what I call quiet courage, and that type of courage that consistently does the right thing day after day, hour after hour, minute after minute.
I'm grateful for all her advice. I'm grateful for her views on family and her views on faith, her views on being a mom.
She's very wise. You know, she gives great advice. She means so much to all of us, and we love her very much.
Mom has always been the backbone of our family. Dad was always out in front. Dad certainly created the vision and the foundation of the business, but Mom's always been the backbone. And I've often said Mom doesn't get enough credit for the business. There is no way that Dad could have built this business or could have done the things he did with anybody else in the world except for Mom.
And so, after raising 12 children and spoiling 41 grandchildren, starting a business that's grown to employ thousands, and living the American dream with her beloved RT, Dorothy has this simple wish.
I hope that our legacy will be that we have improved the welfare of a little town in Mount Sterling that welcomed us with open arms in 1952, and that we've raised 12 wonderful Christian children who continue to follow our dream.